everyone. This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Channel. How is everybody doing this morning? Hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Had a good old time. Anyway, this morning's live stream is going to be about everybody needs to wake the hell up and understand what's going on around them. Okay? I had to sit there and take a couple days to digest that DC shooting, and I've digested it. Okay? And what did I get? I got a bunch of anger. Okay. And I realized that this video isn't going to be pushed by YouTube. I'll be lucky if I even get 100 views on this thing. I don't really care. It needs to be said. Okay. Because Americans, they're so lost, they don't even know where the problem is. But that's what we're going to discuss. So, things are going to get bad, people. And all this stuff that I'm going to discuss, the road can stop on that path at any time. It's just the American people have to do something about it. So anyway, but yeah, I'm a little upset. I'm a little upset having to see all this shit that goes on in this country and what our politicians, they're the problem, people. They're the problem. The situation we have in this country going on right now is not because of the American that gets up every day, goes to work, and pays his taxes. It's because of the money that we pay, the people we pay our taxes to, what they're doing, okay? Remember, the government always wants to sit there and restrict the Second Amendment because, see, they don't want, they want us to bow down to a barrel of a gun. But they don't want to be in that position where they're the ones who are supposed to be in that position. And like I say, I doubt if YouTube will even promote this video. I really don't care. They don't promote none of it anyway. I mean, the last thing you want to do is tell the truth. There's so many channels on the social media platforms that people just do absolute retarded stuff and have millions of followers. Really? Let's say social media. The dumber you are, the more stupider stuff you can get on there. I can't believe that the human race has evolved into some of the stuff that we see on TikTok and social media. That's all I got to say. But anyway, that's another reason. The main problem that's causing all that is we're going to get into it. We're going to get into our subject today. Since YouTube don't let nobody show up, that's fine, YouTube. I know you're here, Google. I know you're going to sit there and pass it on to your handlers in the government. Good. Because you know what, government? You can fucking kiss my ass. I've had it. We have now combat control patrols in our cities by our National Guard. And that's what it is. What do they say? Highly visible patrol, or however they phrase it. No, it's a combat patrol in our cities. And now we have National Guard members that have paid the price for that. I have a hard time being a Marine. I don't like women in combat roles to begin with, okay? I'm just going to flat out say that the way it is. But, this woman, they got attacked. This is happening in our cities, people. Not by American citizens were they attacked, what is coming to. Attacked in that way, where they're violently attacked and shot at, but by foreigners, Afghans. And they, you got each side blaming, it's the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It doesn't freaking matter. You don't think that Trump isn't letting people in this country that serve their administration just fine as long as they screw over the American people? If the American people aren't going to wake up and find out who their real enemy is, the one that put our country over trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. Debt we can never pay back. See, this is because of this, people, we're eventually going to become a third world country overnight. Because of our government, every American and anybody who's attached to the dollar is going to suffer. all these developing countries that did it in dollars, they're going to suffer. And their people are going to suffer. The government is the biggest fucking problem. I'm done with them. Like I say, beta males like Lindsey Graham, Donald Trump, beta. All you fucking beta males. You know, Lindsey Graham, money being spent to kill Russians is the best way to spend money. Really, Lindsey Graham, you really freaking think that? I guess the second best way to spend money to you, Lindsey Graham, would be spending money to kill the American people. That'd probably even be better than killing Russians. Because, you know, the main enemy to our politicians in this country are our citizens. The way it should be. Our government should always fear the citizens. Our government should always be like, God, we better make sure we do this right, because if we piss off enough people, you know, they're going to come after us and throw us out. What you should be able to do. And what Trump said, he was going to start some committee or whatever to ensure our constitutional rights. What about the J-sex protesters there, Donald Trump? What about shall not be infringed? So that means you're going to get rid of all the laws that restrict the Second Amendment? And they got all this shit going on, and they want us to give up our guns when our soldiers are getting shot down in the street. What's going to stop from shooting you? All you people that are for this shit? Oh, I can't wait till the military's patrolling your streets. Till you got to go through checkpoints. Because with this happening, now he just has more authority to put more troops in more cities now, right? With new rules of engagement. I mean, you get to the point, you look at them wrong, bam, 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 bam. I mean, we're past the police state now. We're entering a military state. And like I say, I don't care about the details of this, of how, the guy coming in, how he came in, who he worked with. You know, worked with the C. That just to say, you know, he's a spook. Was he programmed in a way where they sent him the signal and he clicked? Went in his brainwashing mode? Is that what happened? But whatever, our politicians bring this shit on. And they just got the American people confused that they don't know who their real enemy is. I mean, the enemy is the one stealing from you. The enemy is the one making it safe in this country. I mean, we're talking our troops getting shot down. What about all the Americans that lives have been affected because of illegals in this country? When is a politician ever going to be held accountable? I mean, they wanted to make it if somebody used a gun in a gun crime that killed somebody, they wanted to hold the gun manufacturers responsible. If a bartender overserves an individual and they get an accident, it causes damage or death, the bartender's responsible, partly responsible. When are we going to make politicians partly responsible for their actions? I'm so fucking tired of it. Like I say, I'm done with the politicians. I'm done with the politicians. We need to get our country back. I mean, all you people, I want digital ID, digital currency, and then universal basic income. I mean, people don't realize, the control. I don't understand why people can't see this the way I am. We got troops in the street now that are being gunned down in America. Like I say, all the stuff that I saw overseas is now happening in this country. And all those shitholes I was in, they're no better off now. They're worse now than they were the days I was there. And our politicians, these fucking beta males, think they stand tough. I'm going to sit. I want to have a final. Sorry, I didn't read the chat much. So if you want to sit there and go off and put in a bunch of comments, that's cool. Probably from India anyway. But like I say, they got Americans fighting with each other. Why can't our troops start arresting the people in D.C.? I mean, Trump, why don't you clean up the swamp like you said you were? Drain the swamp. You got troops in D.C. Why can't you do that? Because they don't want to solve any goddamn problems. Now that they sat there in between the mainstream media and enticing these people to shoot at our troops, oh, cool. Now we got, not cool, but anyway, now we got service members killed. Now they get to sit there and go on with the next level of tyranny on us. Enjoying the show, are you, Google? Enjoying the show, are you, government? Like I say, fuck you people. Fuck you people. I will exercise my God-given rights and defend them from anybody that wants to take them from me. Okay? I'm sick of this shit. I see who the enemy is. It's no problem for me who to see who the enemy is, who has caused all these problems in our country and around the world. I mean, don't Americans always get what they pay for? But we're spending a lot of money on war, aren't we? I'm sure eventually we'll get what we pay for. Freaking holidays, and I got to be pissed off about this shit because Americans just won't wake up. Just won't wake up. All us vets out there, all you vets out there, you know, you're going to sit there and do nothing about this? What kind of training did you have? The same stuff that J.D. Vance had? Where he learned how to run a camera? What a piece of shit. You know, this not all this surveillance state we're going to live in, everybody's okay with it. All the money they're spending on building new data centers. We got more data centers in the United States right now than the rest of the world combined. And they're going to put up more data centers to sit there and collect information about Americans. And we live in a free society? I mean, how can we have more data centers than China? Hell, their population is, what, 5 times ours? See, we don't live in a free country anymore. You know, and now Trump, he's had enough. Trump's going to put his foot down because he's had enough with all this silly shit going on in this country. You know, with the service members being killed and stuff, really? You know, a lot of us American citizens have fucking had enough. Enough of your guys' shit. They say, well, this can all end one day. But what path should we go down? Should we go down a path where we can see what's coming and nobody wants to do nothing about it? Because I don't want to interrupt my life for a couple days and ensure a better life for 1,000 years. Why would I give even a year of my time? This is what people think. Why would I do anything to expose myself and give a year of my time helping humanity become so they can live 1,000 prosperous years when I can sit here in my slavery and still have my cell phone and my modern conveniences? People are really ready to sacrifice. Like I say, I'm out of here. Next year, I'm getting out while I can. You know, you people, digital currency. What's digital currency? Oh, you know what your Social Security account's like? How much of a control withdrawals are you in your Social Security account? Oh, that would be none. Don't have any control of withdrawals. You're not really in control of the fucking deposits either. You're just forced to deposit what the government says you're going to put in. Now, how much control do you have on that account? Well, welcome to your digital currency account. Same thing, people. They already got the damn infrastructure set up. All they do is got to do the same thing Social Security. Digital ID. See, this is why they're building all these data centers. So when they go to digital ID, they have everything that you did from everything you know about that you did from the time you were born. And then this is the thing. Okay, we go to digital ID. We're still going to need a birth as an American citizen, not as an illegal. You don't need none of this shit to do stuff. But as an American citizen, still going to need a Social Security card, still going to need a birth certificate. You're still going to need all of the foreign ID you have now. It's not like they're going to go away. It's just now in this digital ID, all your information, every last bit. Oh, yeah, I'm a little excited this morning. I haven't quite gone Alex Jones yet. I'm sure I could. If you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Because YouTube, social media, it doesn't matter which one, doesn't want people coming together. Doesn't want some hothead like me getting on YouTube and telling everybody, no, it's not your neighbor, it's your enemy. Your neighbor didn't put you $38 trillion in debt. Did he? Your neighbor ain't making you a slave to the government, is he? Even if he's somebody that's for the shit. He's not the, when we threaten, when our real enemy feels threatened, like I say, it's coming to the time when the King Richard and the Magna Carta at the end of the sword. That's why they don't want us to have guns. Because that's handing them our Constitution at the end of a sword. I'm so tired of this shit. When people think, well, you're fucking nuts, really? You know what? The government brainwashed me and trained me to fight against the evil, which was called evil back then, which now our government's doing. Basically, to put it simply, I was taught to hate, despise, and want to destroy and kill every communist and terrorist I see. You understand now? And this shit's going on. I got J99. Now, this, Tom, let me know where you are and end up being. J99 is because of you. I mean, I got your message this morning about your daughter being home till Saturday, and something just clicked in me. That could have been her. Give her extra hugs. You never know what these fucking politicians that we take an oath. The honorable Mr. President Trump. The honorable fucking this and that and the other shit. Remember when you had to memorize your chain of command and to give all these citizens the title, the honorable, before you could say their name? Remember that shit? This guy's retarded. Good. Then I tell you what, when you got troops coming down your street, enjoy, bitch. I mean, I don't need the enemy at my door or in my neighborhood to know who the enemy is. All these people, like this guy that shot these National Guard people, a patsy used by the government. Some moron out there doing stupid shit so the government can sit there and Trump can get pissed off and sit there and do some more stupid shit. Basically, the American citizen is going to become victim of this. We're all victims of the government. Like I say, you call me retarded, I really don't care. I don't care. Because eventually when I get out there, like I say, I got my bug out location. That's where the water squirts out of the ground. You've seen plenty of videos of it. I put on my shorts lately. That's my bug out area. People, well, you're showing it on video. Come out and find me. Okay? When 100 and 300, it's just, no matter where you go, hundreds of miles in every direction, it's like that. Come find me. But eventually, that's not my place that I'm going to go to escape this shit, because they still have roadblocks and stuff you got to deal with there. I'm getting away from humanity. People say, you can't be a lone wolf. I mean, I want to hang around with people that think this fucking stupid. People that'll sit there and that will take a vaccine because the government told them to. I'm done hanging around these stupid, retarded people. I'd rather sit there and hang out with my horses and my dogs, okay? Or my dog. That's one thing I should tell you, J99, is Columbus and Valentine, I lost them both this year. All I got is Zaya left. So, by the way, I'd rather sit there and deal with animals. We're all animals. But I'd rather deal with the wild animals than the so-called domesticated human animal. Okay, I'm done dealing with the shit. I see what's coming. Okay, I'm not stupid. I'm a student of history, you might say. And all history shows is we're going down the same crooked ass path, and it's going to take major disaster of Third World War to end this shit, where people wake up for a little bit and say, "No, we're not doing this." Anyway, you need to wake up, people, and see who the real enemy is. The one causing all this. Live free and die, brother. Yeah, I know. People out here, what if you have a medical emergency? Then I deal with the Lord, okay? I've lived 5 lifetimes. I know I'm not going to live a lifetime in the shit they're trying to bring down. There's no freaking way. I'm not a good communist. I know what freedom is. That's one thing. I'm going to do another live stream tonight about dreams. The dreams I was having, why I moved out of Minnesota. And talking to one of my friends when I was telling him about it, just the other day, he goes, "What's your dreams about?" And I told him. And he's having the same type of dreams. I'm just wondering how many other people are feeling the walls of the government, the hands of the government, trying to sit there and squeeze you tighter and tighter to the point where, it's locked in. They can't get out. It's nothing. How come it's harder for an American citizen to get out of our country with the paperwork we got to do than it is? It's easier for this guy who shot these people up to get in our country without paperwork. How the hell are politicians? It's not the guy doing construction on a highway. It's not the guy working in a factory. It's not the farmer in the field or the rank cowboy on his horse. And they never solve problems. Like, guess what? Now, because of this shooting, now the budget's going to have to go up because we got another problem they're just going to have to spend boatloads of money on. Boatloads of money. You want to solve the immigration problem in this country? I'll tell you, Trump, this is how you do it. You put a bounty on all the illegals' heads of $1,000. Now listen, because it'll work, and we'll have it solved. We'll be waiting for you guys to pick them up. And you authorize all American. We don't need to be authorized by the president of the United States or Congress or the courts. The Constitution, I should say, authorizes us to do this. If the government doesn't want to do it, lead me, follow me, or get the fuck out of my way, it's time the government gets the fuck out of our way. But if we clean up your local area, whether it be a city or like where I live out here, we're so rural, it's counties and stuff, we're just your local area. You clean up your local area, every American. You sit there and get your illegals, take them to a assembly area, and you get, when the government picks you up, they give you $1,000 for every one that you got. Bounty hunter shit. 98% of them would leave this country in the first 3 days after Trump said that. But you know what? I'll start with Michigan. Oh my God, that fucking Dearborn, is it Dearborn, Michigan, with that mayor? Fuck him. These Muslims, fuck you. It's against the Constitution. Let me tell you something about, in the Marine Corps, our hymn, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. Why do you got the shores of Tripoli in there? Hell, that's in Libya. When did the Marines go to Libya? Oh, that would have been right. Back in 1802 and 1803, when Jefferson was dealing with the Muslim pirates, just like they're dealing with now. And he read the Quran and said every American needs to read this and understand how our enemy really thinks. Thomas Jefferson knew it 222 years ago that it was a problem for this country. I'm so sick of it. I see one guy a lot on YouTube up there in Michigan, Dearborn, Because obviously people need to follow him. He's a guy like me. He's basically a town crier. I'm done with this shit. I've seen him on the corner. I've seen him in a town hall meeting and stuff. He's standing up like I am. And everybody wants to call him crazy. You know, am I crazy because I want Americans? You know, I live and leave it to Beaverland here, people. I don't have to lock my doors or take the keys out of my vehicles. I'm in the outside looking in at your guys' cage wondering what the hell's going on. I wish everybody could live like this. And this is what this guy's trying to do like I am. Wake up, people. Let's live free again. Let's get rid of the ball and chain this government has created on us. Nobody can see the enemy. Oh, I'm telling you, you YouTubers too, that want to sit there and say, oh no, you sit there and talk bad about Trump, but now since you're conservative, but now since the Democrats are saying it's Trump's fault for this guy, you're jumping on the protecting Trump. No, it's both their fucking faults. When are we going to go actually America first? When? And there's another way to solve it, people. You don't think your government's the enemy? According to the Constitution, all the information Doge had access to, the government has to release to the citizens of this country by the Constitution on how taxes are spent, on all our money, tax money is spent. If they did that, this government would last about 2 hours. I mean, what do they say? Follow the money trail to sit there and see where the crime was committed? I think we can find a lot of crimes at the end of a $38 trillion money trail. But do I actually need to read that sentence in the Constitution? I think I am. I'm going to read that one sentence. Because everybody thinks, oh my God, they got to have a committee that they get this high-class information on how they're spending our money. No, we have every right to it. Every fucking right. It says it in the Constitution. They have to do it. Crickets from the American public. Crickets. You know, another thing too, we're having an economic downsizing. People are struggling. How come the government never has to downsize? How come the government expenditures get more and more every year? How come they raise their budgets every year? With the American taxpayers struggling and having to pinch pennies, but the government budget just keeps going up? Like I said, 38 trillion that we know about plus dollars in debt. That's just funded liability. That doesn't include the over $1 trillion unfunded. And we just allowed it to happen. We got troops in the street. We're just allowing it to happen. And we look at it as, oh, it's criminals. Yeah, the criminals is the fault. The criminals in D.C. You know, how come, another thought. How come we don't have any billionaires or high politicians in prison? I mean, I guess once you get to a certain wealth and a certain place in society, you're just an angel and never commit a crime. How come there's no billionaires in prison? Oh, that's right. I know why. Too big to fail. Remember that in 2008? And too big to jail. Great country we live in. Don't you feel free? And then Trump, it is, I'm going to give the American taxpayer $2,000. Yeah, so they'll go out and spend it on Christmas. $2,000. He spends more than that on a fucking dinner. And we're supposed to think these people understand where we're coming from? When you're sitting there scraping, as a mother, scraping ramen noodles and tomato soup together and a little bit of bread to sit there and feed your kids. So maybe you get that $2,000 and you can, which is bad, I think, and go to McDonald's with them. Let them eat cake. That's all I hear. Like I say, fuck you. All you guys got is money. That's all you got. Okay, in nature, you are the inferior piece of shit beta male to me. And naturally, I cannot allow myself to listen to fucking beta males. Can't do it. Pussies. Lindsey Graham. Pussies. You know what? It's just we got a world of hurt coming to this country. And this is one thing why people need to wake up. You think it's bad now. Wait till the bombs are falling in this country from other nations. Oh, it could never happen here. Why? Why couldn't it ever happen here? I mean, if that starts happening, are you going to say, oh, it's time to stand up to the government and stop the reason this is happening? Like I say, the rest of the world that is, like in England, dealing with their shit, France, Germany, all the Western countries, Canada, are looking at Americans and be like, you got the Second Amendment. You got the Constitution. Look at your history. And you're allowing this to happen to your country? As a service member, I can see where this world leads to. I can see with what I dealt with in other countries is happening here. Like I say, these patrols now in these cities by our service members just turned into combat patrols. Combat patrols by military in our own cities. Or maybe I'm just not seeing it. I'm seeing it wrong, right? Maybe I'm not seeing the way it actually is. Maybe I better put the old rainbows and fucking lollipop scenery on it and shit, right? Say, fuck you, politicians. This is another thing, people. The Constitution is just a piece of paper with words written on it if you're not willing to sit there and defend it. It's just another piece of paper with words on it, written on it. And right now, anything coming out of D.C. or any lawmaking body, to me, the Constitution is not a piece of paper with words written on it. All this fucking phony paper that's coming out of these legislative bodies is worthless paper with words on it. Okay? And the reason these worthless papers that are coming out of these law-making bodies is enforced is because nobody wants to sit there and understand that we need to defend the Constitution. Freedom and liberty, even though our government makes it sound like it's something that only needs to be fought everywhere else in the world besides the United States, needs to be fought for in the United States too. And that's what's coming. All you vets, just because we got our DD 214 and our honorable discharge, our service isn't up to our country. My service is done to the government, but my service isn't done to my country. And right now, the government's the enemy of my country. And just too many people. Like I say, how many people are going to be happy when they get their $2,000 check? And me, I'm not going to sit there and go for the money, but you know what they're going to do? Just like they did COVID. I didn't go for none of that money. So what they do? They just put it on my VA card. See, the reason they want to give everybody this money, whether you want to take it or not, because even if you don't want to take it and they force you to take it, and like I say, force you, but then again, it went on my card and I said, fuck it. I'm going to have to sit there and pay back $6,000 for this $2,000. So I might as well sit there and buy something with it that's going to be worth $6,000 in 10 years or supplies or whatever. I spent it on practical stuff, but that's what they're going to do. But now we got service members' families that are grieving. Like I say, J99, this, I just think of your daughter. But they got to put up with in the military. Maybe they got rid of the transgenders and shit. I love Willie Pete, by the way. I've been surprising for a while. Back again, Tom. Had to take a call. Wild horses. Yeah, I'll tell you what, you know, there's nothing like, one thing about a horse when you sit there and like my retired gelding and my mare that I ride now, when you have thousands of miles on them and a horse is not like a dog. They bond with you on an intelligence level that's higher than a dog. It's hard to explain, but you're out there and you're riding with your buddy, okay, or your friend, your partner. You're working cows. That horse is working just as hard as you are. Yeah, J99, like I said, make sure you give your daughter a nice big hug. That's all that goes through my mind with this incident. That 20-year-old woman shot in the chest and then held her down and shot her in the face. All the children now that she could have raised and became good adults ain't going to happen because of our fucking politicians. Can you imagine the mother of that girl on Thanksgiving? And then you want to mourn privately, and all you do, it's all over the news. Bunch of shit brought on by our politicians. Just like all these families, like I say, that have been subject to pain because of this illegal immigration problem. The young women that have been raped and murdered because of this shit. Now, what politician has been held accountable because of their actions caused? Well, can't they at least be charged with accessory to manslaughter? Something. Like I say, it's not us out here causing this shit. We just got to deal with it. Yep, we're going to have more troops in more cities now. Because Trump's had enough. Trump's had enough. Well, you know what politicians, what American citizens have had enough? You might want to read up on what caused the revolution. I don't know, start back in the 1760s and read up until 1789. I mean, you went to school to study all this shit. This is what's coming, people. Either that or we're going to have complete tyranny. We're going to have 1984. 1984 and worse than that, where you can't even find a corner to hide in your apartment where you won't be monitored. Because remember, you have a chip in your brain. They're going to know what you're freaking thinking. Yeah, that's what's coming. Science fiction completely. I could live 40 years in that shit. Like I say, I will live without modern conveniences and be free all day long. I realize they're eventually going to come for me. So sorry about the loss of your dogs. Yeah, Valentine died of heartworm. And then Columbus got hit by a car. Some car, I don't want to get no traffic by my road, right? Maybe one car every couple days. And the 16-year-old kid that was going 70 down the gravel road, maybe, whatever. Maybe, but I lost Columbus that way. It sucked. He was my protector. He was the one that if he tried to sit there and mess with me at all, he'd have tore your throat out. Where Zaya, she's got the size, but she may not have a temperament, so I may have to get I always want a German Shepherd. I'm sick of this shit. I'm going to do whatever it takes to protect me. I'm going to use all the skills and experience that my government before taught me to defend myself against my government. So your rhetoric is too deep for the common masses. Their minds are too shallow to understand and comprehend. Yeah, but see, they've been dumbed down. Why was it against the law to educate a slave? Because an educated person is a free-thinking, independent. They don't want somebody who can think on their own. They're just more independent. Okay? You just, but they dumbed everything down so bad. It's terrible what's happening to these kids. You know, when we do get our country back, there's going to be a lot of young adults that go back to school to learn just. I mean, these kids don't know how to add. They don't know nothing about history. Their emotions aren't controlled. I mean, you got teachers that are quitting in kindergarten now because half their class isn't even potty trained. I mean, parents, wake up. But it is your job to make sure your child is potty trained by the time they go to school. It doesn't take that long. It takes a little bit of time and effort before you know it, they're potty trained. So that's just the level of them going into kindergarten is so low now. And then remember, you can't say anything that upsets them or challenges them. I mean, how do you teach health class now with people that think they're transgender or furries? How do you teach health class? How? I'm just curious, how? Because sure to the hell, if you're afraid to offend anybody, it sure can't be an honest health class. I mean, if a furry's going to get upset and tell them, teach about the human body and say, no, that's what you are, they're going to get upset where you can't teach it. I mean, this beyond stupid. Beyond stupid. But like I say, I'm going to get out next summer while I still can. You know, before there's military checkpoints where you got to have papers to travel from state to state. And people go like, that would be crazy. Ever been to California before? Is there any road that you can drive into California? I don't care if it's probably a gravel road in the middle of the fucking nowhere. They got some government employee there with a fucking arm down. You got to drive through to stop and talk to him. When did all that start? Can anybody remember when that California bullshit started with stopping everybody? What did they use as an emergency to start all that shit? Oh, yeah, that would have been the fruit fly back in the 70s. 50 years ago, and the shit's still up. You know, I'm wondering, you know, with the military now and this basically in combat roles in our cities, are they going to come up with a new military ribbon for that? A ribbon that shows you served in the cities of the United States? Because they're in a combat mode, combat zone. Anyway, it's just sad that people can't see who the real enemy is. Like I say, if 3 or 4 million of us vets got together, and I'm going to say ground side vets, okay, nothing to get you admin, pose, or cooks or nothing, but a show of force. Somebody be the frontline troops and surround DC on the rural area, not in the city. 3 or 4 million people, you need a lot of area, and just do like a surround them. And it takes some organization dealing with private homeowners and stuff, and just do exercises, train. You know, getting a chain of command established and you know, just do that for like a week or two. Training exercises for the well-regulated militia in this country, which is you, as all us vets. And we'll have a little bit of training around Washington, D.C. with all our Second Amendment tools that we're allowed to have. And this thing, when the Second Amendment was written, okay, I don't believe people should be able to have nuclear weapons. I don't believe our government should have them. I don't believe any government should have them. But according to the Second Amendment, that if our well-regulated militia has the means, the finances, and the proper people. All right, YouTube's playing its games. I guess my took off again. See, this is the thing. They shut my channel down to nothing again. Disconnected me from the live streams. I've started all over again. This is what happens when you start taking off. But yeah, I'm going to say it. It's time for us well-regulated militia, us vets, who is allowed to have every weapon our military has. Just like back when, after the war, you were allowed to have a cannon if you wanted shit. Thank you, YouTube. I appreciate the shit. But I tell you what, the last thing, hey, Bambi, how you doing? Yeah, YouTube just disconnected me. I tell you what, fighting these social medias, just trying to get the word out. Politicians allowed to sit there, get up and say all their stupid shit they want, like Maxine Waters and stuff, right? Good luck finding a can, and I've been looking. I think I'm carrying my own from bronze. Anyway, the thing is, we're allowed to have all that shit. Then maybe when Joe Biden sat there and said, if you have your AR-15s, you can't conquer us because we got our nuclear weapons, our F-15s and Hellfire missiles. You know what? As the American public, we're allowed to have everything you have. And guess what? We bought all your shit, bitch. Imagine being threatened with your own, that's like being shot with your own gun. I'm done with these fucking politicians. These freaking guys, goddamn beta males. I'm done with it. And you got the, like I say, you got the mega retards that you can't say nothing to. They think Trump is Jesus Christ, and there's nothing you fucking tell them any different, no matter what evidence you show them. Okay? They're fanatical. And then you got the same one, liberals on the left. Same shit. Fanatical up the ass. Okay? As the 60% in the middle, I'm tired of dealing with fanatical retards. I'm done. I'm on here trying to sit there and get people together, wake you up. Hey, you don't want to hear it? I'm sorry, but you're going to hear it. This country's fucked up. The main enemy of the world and the American citizen is our federal government right now. In states like Minnesota, welcome to Tim Walz's communist East Berlin. And that's why I can't go back to Minnesota no more. I done told my kids they got to come visit me because like going into communist East Berlin. You can freely get in there, but you got out-of-state plates and you get pulled over by some, 21-year-old trooper that looks like Barney Fife. And you look at him the wrong way, all of a sudden it takes you 30 years to get out of the fucking state. The systematic destroying and closing of the farms all over the giant, grain belt. I know. I was alive. I was born in 67. Grew up in agriculture, small farm boy in Minnesota. And during the early 80s, remember when they had all those auctions and the bank was farming more ground than the farmers were? They just tried to. And it was one way of getting the little guy out of business, and the little guy, and the little guy, and the little guy. And it keeps going that way. Yeah, I know agriculture is extremely being taken. They want only a few companies controlling everything. Okay? And they're going to get rid of the little guy. What's the little guy? You in the big city may not understand, but the little guy now is somebody who owns 10,000 acres. That's the little guy now. That used to be the big guy. No, they're the little guy now. And they're doing everything they can to get rid of him. Okay, and what's one of the problems? Is because we allowed the Department of Agriculture. Guess what happened when you let the government into your tractor? Are you surprised? Remember when Barack Obama wanted to make it so you needed a CDL just to drive a tractor up and down the field? Or they wanted to consider all tractors and farm equipment as commercial equipment, driving on the road and stuff, just driving down your field? Where that would mean you would need a logbook for your tractor? Yeah, this is crazy shit we live in. Any monopolization of the seed companies, and like I say, I've been in farming a long time, and I've done lots of other things, but in farming, I remember, the yields have gone crazy higher. I mean, back when I was a kid, a corn plant if it had one good one good year on it. If it had 2 years, the second year was a crap year that would just get kicked out the back end of the combine. Where the kernels weren't right. Now you're getting 2 or 3 years on a corn plant, even on dry land corn out here. The cows are 25 to 30% heavier going to market than they were 40 years ago and stuff. Everything's changed. The thing is, like I say, in this country, I don't understand food prices. I'm surrounded by food out here, whether it be on the hoof or in the field, right? And we produce enough food in this country to feed this country. In 1 year, we produce enough food to feed this country for 4 years. Explain to me, besides the stuff that we can't grow in this country, which with Hawaii, I don't know how much of that would be. Food's is high. Tyson's closing down a meat packing plant in Lexington, Nebraska. 3,200 people, and it's not like that town's 1,000,000 people. That town's maybe be 12,000. Now I realize people from other towns work in that factory, but let's say 2,500 of the people live in Lexington. That means like 20% of the population of that town is going to be laid off because one factory is going, because Tyson's going to close one factory. And food prices keep going up. See, none of it makes sense. But nothing our politicians do make sense anymore. But you can't wake the American people up because they're starting to get upset. Hey, let's promise them $2,000. That'll calm them down for a few months. Tyson got busted here for 3,000 illegal immigrants. Nothing. Americans, if we got rid of the H-1B visa workers and the illegal immigrants that are doing jobs and got rid of the AI, AI's taking a lot of white collar, middle class jobs, but you're talking 100 million jobs, 80 to 100 million jobs that Americans are not holding because of foreigners. And then they want to sit there, and I think it's a good idea to tone down on these government entitlements, do something to solve that problem, but they need jobs to go to. Government just fucking everybody they can. Fucking everybody they can. Anyway, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification, and share this. Okay? Talk to your family about it, your friends, or people that you may feel uncomfortable talking to. One reason this country is in such a problem is because people have been silent too long. I believe everybody should have a social media platform spewing how they feel about what's going on in this country. Then we all get to understand, when they come out and say, well, 40% or 60% of the population agree with this, and you get on social media and find out only 10% agree, be calling their bluff. Well, I can't imagine being a dumbass. Like I say, I can't lower my intelligence level to hating somebody because of their skin color. I have a hard, it's easy for me to hate a politician because all they do is come out and say stupid shit. I judge a person on their content of their character, not the color of their skin or anything like that. And our politicians are showing to be the biggest freaking criminals we have. But like I say, we could end this any day. Just go down the rabbit hole. You live in a big city. Okay, if you live in a big city, tell me how much better it's getting every day. God, like I say, I watch Angry Prepper when he does his videos walking through New York, staying in shape, and it's just like, that's what you call life? That's what you call life? Where you got to constantly be like he's on patrol. Constantly, I can go out here and enjoy nature. You walking through the city, even that big black guy has got to sit there and realize he's not going to get messed with a lot, but there's always that chance. And he's always got to be on alert about that. Good thing he's an EMT and firefighter. But, is that better? Is that what you want for your kids? If a lot of Americans could sit there and feel and see freedom like I do, you wouldn't be putting up with this shit. But, I know it's coming out here. I know they're eventually going to get all of us in flyover country to sit there and bow, okay? And some of us just aren't going to bow. And the government's eventually going to have to deal with the groups of us that will not submit at all. Like the Patriots, death before dishonor. I just can't be a slave and I can't be a communist. And this is one thing that the government is, if they push it, they're going to find out. They come to me and want to push their ways that I should be on me. Fuck you. Okay? Death before dishonor. I'm done with this shit. I see who the real enemy is. I've known who the real enemy is for a long time. And I've been trying to wake people up. We all know our government's as crooked as a question mark. And everything they tell us has to have a question mark at the end of it. We never hear the truth. Look at the hoax, the list that never got released. It's still not going to get released anyway. What about all the drone sightings we were having over all these airports all over the country, where airports being closed down and airspace space being closed down? Even at the Air Force Base, Wright-Patterson in Ohio. Really? But the FAA was just doing some training or secret shit? Really? Who the fuck believes that? Transparency. If they were transparent, they wouldn't be in power. Okay? All I know is I'm going to keep harping on that the American people, according to the Constitution, have every right to see how our money is being spent. Have every right by the Constitution. It says those words exactly. It just says every once in a while, Congress needs to release to the public on how taxes are spent. It says every once in a while. That'll be changed. But we're being played as suckers. And people lose their lives. Oh, I haven't. Well, you or your neighbor hasn't been affected yet. It hasn't officially affected you. Like I say, when it does affect you, who's going to come in and save you then? We can stop this from happening. Like I say, the Constitution is just a piece of paper with words written on it if we're not willing to defend it. And I know there's millions of us out there that took an oath to defend the Constitution. And, we all took it more than once. So, it's time for that, people. The politicians brought it on. And if it ends up in a brawl where we got to fight, with a high velocity exchange of ideas, it's because the government refuses to submit to the people. The government's going to fight for its survival, okay? If the government's fighting for their survival, it's no longer a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Anyway, crazy times we live in. Wake up, people. See who your enemy is. Do what you're going to need to do to ensure the future of your children, the future of your nation, the future of your neighbors' children, okay? Americans need to come together. You need to be able to sit there and see through the veil that the government's putting over everybody's eyes. And don't see the country through the red lens or the blue lens, but through the clear lenses. They're clear lenses with the same mentality that our founding fathers had after fighting a revolution. That mentality that created our country, our Constitution, and the mightiest country that this world has ever known. But it's been hijacked by a bunch of corrupt criminals. Okay? Too big to fail, too big to jail. I think it's time that we show the elites that that's not so. All they got is money over us, people. That's it, and that's nothing. Okay. But when the status quo changes, when our money's worth nothing, things will be different. But anyway, until then, let's take our country back. Like say, I want to organize. Yeah, government, you hear me? I want to organize the well-regulated militia to fight your fucking ass. Isn't that just? Is that insurrection? I'm just going off, our founding fathers. Order from our founding fathers that our founding fathers gave us, especially me being a Marine, when it says duty, our duty to throw off. I'm just fulfilling my duty. Congress is infringing, breaking the Constitution, infringing on our Bill of Rights, and now it's time to enact the Declaration of Independence. It's just that easy, people. Whether you like it or not, it's just that easy. And whether you sit there and love China and would sit there and go to China's side if they invaded our country or whatever, this country was fought for by the patriots. The government was formed by the patriots. And this country will remain the United States of America, a constitutional republic, because of the patriots. Okay? So are you ready to be a patriot? Or are you ready to sit there and be a slave so your government can continue to give you minor conveniences? And then if you get killed, don't worry, they'll be on the news and the rest of us will just go on with our lives thinking, we can't do nothing about it. This guy sounds like Napoleon. I can't do no wrong. It's not about me. Like I say, people, next year, I'm out there. Next year, I'm not going to be dealing with this shit. Okay, I'm trying to warn the rest of you. I already got my plan to escape this shit. I have the abilities, the skills, and the knowledge to sit there and live like a mountain man. All right? And I'm done with it. And I'm going to do this while I still can. Like I have a wood-burning stove. That's another thing. They want to get rid of wood-burning stoves. Why? Because I got control of that. There's states where you can't collect rainwater because it's against the law. What, the state owns the rain that falls out of the sky? This is the insane rules we live under. One thing about a wood-burning stove, all you people want to pay $500, $600, $700 a month to heat your house? Go for it. You want to keep the big man, keep the money flowing to him? I'll go out there, cut some wood, chop it, and bring it into my house and heat it. And a wood stove is just so much more efficient, puts out so much more heat. It's way more comfortable than this new garbage they come up with. Anyway, the dumbing down of America, where the draft Dodgers is calling generals stupid and selling Bibles for $60 when they are free everywhere. In this country, if you can make a buck at something, like in Minnesota, those people are so stupid up there, you could sit there and one way I got furniture up in Minnesota is that in springtime, when all these expensive lake homes do their remodeling and shit, they'll put furniture out on the road. Brand new furniture, 1 year old. Stuff I could never afford, perfect shape. And you can go around and pick it up. If it's left on the curb for garbage, you can pick it up. Brand new furniture. But in Minnesota, I could have 2 bags of manure filled with the same manure, horse manure, but say, hey, this is extra special manure. That stuff is $50 a bag. This is just normal manure. That's $25 a bag. And I would sell more $50 bags. I mean, when you go to a convenience store or wherever you buy those bundles of wood and you're paying $9-10 for a bundle of wood that wouldn't even heat my house up 1 degree up in the wintertime? I mean, you kidding me? Just some of the stuff that I see in this world. Anyway, we all need to band together, people. I would love to start seeing comments. How do we start organizing? What do we need to do? Or questions like that. Something where we can start getting a well-regulated militia organized. You know, the well-regulated militia is supposed to protect the American citizen, not the American government. So anyway, that's why, they're so hard against the Second Amendment. Because a well-regulated militia will keep this government in check. Anyway, there's lots of us vets out there, people. What do you think you went through all that sweat training for? Just so you could go to a foreign country and use your skills? Yeah, it's time to fight for freedom in this country. Like Thomas Jefferson said, it's time to water the tree of liberty with the blood of tyrants and patriots. But the only reason the patriots got to spill their blood is because the tyrants are not willing to give up power. Okay? No tyrant ever gets better. A tyrant only stops when the people stop him. Okay? That's just it. Or, like in World War II, how the world came together and stopped the tyrants. But then there's a whole history behind that on how you can't hide nothing in today's world, okay? You can't hide nothing. All they can do is somebody comes out, some social media channel out of nowhere that has all this information that they don't want people to hear. Either that person will disappear or they'll just sit there and get 10 other people that are telling people he's a fool. Disinformation program. Anyway. I appreciate even the stupid comments, okay? But I say, you trolls, one thing about it, this is all going to affect you too. What are you going to do when all the stuff that you sit there and used to crack fun about on YouTube or on these chats comes as knocking on your door? These people, all I know is people must be really sensitive because these trolls, they don't even have, this is kindergarten teasing that went on with these sons of bitches. Nah. Like I say, I'm dealing with the real world. You want to be a little child and sit there and say, discrediting comments on the chat, go for it. It's just ain't going to solve the problem. Do you want to be a slave to the system? Then go for it. Both sides need to have people on it. But anyway, time to stand up against this government, people. Time for the well-regulated militia to get together and protect the American citizen. Time for you got people in the neighborhood to start your neighborhood watches. Start where you have an actual armed. You got military out there. Once they ain't hot head. When we were in the military, we were taught to be respectful. Okay, you weren't a gun-toting frickin' moron. Only when you had to be. Anyway, so it's time to form that again. Because things aren't going to get better. We have our military in the streets, and now they're getting gunned down. So that means our military is on combat patrols in our streets. Does anybody think it's maybe time to do something before we have foreign troops in our streets? Just something to think about, everybody. But tonight, like I say, I'm going to do another live stream. I'm going to do it on dreams. I want to do that one. I'm going to do that one later at night. You may miss that one, J99. I want to do one on dreams. I want to see if other people are having the same type of dreams. Because when somebody sits there and asks me what my dream was, and then they say, yeah, I'm having the same type of one, I wonder how many other Americans are feeling the same way. Anyway, that's all I got for today on this morning's live stream. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy it as much as you can. And remember, the government's there to destroy your life. They wanted to get it, so the only thing that you can be thankful for is that the government exists. And that's just going to be a bad time for everybody if that ever happens. Anyway, this is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.